What is going on, everybody on YouTube? Steve here with Raiken Profit, coming to you guys with another live video. And in today's video, we're going to be talking about how to make money on eBay. So if you're coming to this YouTube video, whether you're a subscriber or not, and you're looking to make money on eBay, this is definitely going to be the video for you. To give you a little background about myself, I actually started selling on eBay about 3 years ago. And, when I had first gotten started, I didn't know if it was possible to make money on eBay. I was working at, pizzerias, the Cracker Barrel, different restaurants. And, I really just, I didn't really enjoy working those jobs. And I wanted to find a way to be able to create, extra income, to make more money. When you work at a restaurant or a normal 9 to 5 job, I'm sure you can imagine, your income is limited if you're not working a commissions job or something like that. And, if you want to make more money, the only way to really make more money is to put in more hours and to work overtime. And I just didn't want to create that lifestyle. So I started searching for ways to make extra income. And the funny thing is, I actually came across some YouTube videos of other people making money online. Long story short, dove right into it. And 3 years later, I've sold well over $100,000 worth of product on eBay. Since then, I've moved on to other businesses as well. And, I still sell on eBay, but on a part-time basis. But I've definitely been around the block. So I'm going to share with you guys some tips and strategies for how you can make money on eBay. Coming from someone who's actually done it, who's actually, at one point I was doing it full time, and actually had office space. I had employees. I had people helping out. I had virtual assistants, and it was my full-time gig. So definitely I could help you out, and really excited to dive into this live show with you guys. Hopefully you can see my screen. This is going to be a screen share, so it's going to definitely be interactive. So if you are watching live right now, feel free to go into the comment section and say hello. Let me know how your night is going. I'm recording this on a Saturday night at about 11 o'clock at night. And, I'm telling you guys, this stuff gets me excited. Making money online, especially eBay, and then other sources like Amazon FBA. I mean, these things get me excited because it can open up a ton of opportunities for you. So looks like we got some people in the comment section. Marco, Camara, what's going on? Golden Age Games in the house saying, what up, Raiken? What's going on? GAG. We got Michael Asylum in the house saying, what up? Franco Gutierrez, Scotty. Marco says, I plan to get back into eBay for the items I won't sell on Amazon. And Marco brings up a really good point. If you are watching right now and you're strictly selling on Amazon, just know you're missing out on money. And it goes the same way, vice versa. If you're only selling on eBay, you're missing out on a lot of money, by not selling on Amazon. So, yeah, thanks everybody for watching. Pretty much the game plan for this show is, number one, I'm going to talk about 4 different sources or 4 different locations you can go to be able to find products to resell on eBay. It's only going to take a couple minutes to cover that. The next thing we're going to do is dive into what to source. So we're going to talk about the products that you actually go out and buy to sell. And these are going to be the products that are going to allow you to, make money on eBay. So we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about some clothing, some shoes, video games, board games, printers, electronics, stuff like that. And last but not least, we're going to talk about how to actually make the money, right? We're going to cover how to source, the locations, the products, but how do you actually make the money? And that's going to be the most important part of this broadcast. So again, guys, thanks everyone for watching. We got a lot of people in the comment section, so I definitely appreciate that. Just let me know in the comment section that the audio is looking good. Also, let me know that you could see my screen. Right now, you should be able to see my eBay screen right now. And whatever page I switch to, you should be able to see that as well. So, yeah, let's dive into this show. I'm going to shout a few more people out, and we're going to get into the content. Fresh Coast Fonz, come on, bro. I'm getting there, man. I'm getting there. Kevin Martinez, what's going on? NYC Profits. We're going to dive into some tips for sure. We got Darren Eckelman. Good to see you. We got a lot of comments in the house right now. So let's talk about real quick for the people who are watching, especially the new people, because this is really what I'm trying to create this video for, the new person that wants to learn how to make money on eBay. Let's talk about how can you actually, or in other words, where can you go to source products? So I'm going to tell you guys right now, the #1 location in my opinion, to be able to easily and effortlessly source products consistently and source more and more products if you want to increase the volume, is thrift stores. Yes, thrift stores. If you've been doing this for a while, you know exactly what I'm talking about. But there's a ton of thrift stores out there, guys. I literally just went on a 90-day road trip a couple months ago. I live in Connecticut, and I went all the way down through Florida. I went down the east side, went up the west side. I went through Texas. I went through El Paso, New Mexico, California. Went up to San Jose. I've been all over the country, and there's one common theme when it comes to being able to source consistently and effortlessly, and that's going to thrift stores, guys. I'm talking Goodwill. I'm talking Salvation Army. I'm talking Savers. I mean, for the people watching in the comment section right now, drop some more names of thrift stores. Let me know where in the country you are watching this video from in some thrift stores. There's a lot of them out there. There's, what's that one? The red, white, and blue thrift store, I believe. I'm not sure what it's called, but there's a ton of them, guys. And these are just mainstream thrift stores. There's mom and pop thrift stores, thrift stores. I can't talk. There's a lot of them out there, guys, but thrift stores are probably one of the best ways that you can be able to source products, especially if you're going after particular ones like clothing and shoes. So I'm going to dive into the comment section and see what everybody is saying about the thrift stores. We got Max Piano saying St. Vinny's. We got Idaho Falls saying I'm from Idaho Falls, Idaho. Yes, you are. Golden Age Games is saying Savers, yo. I'm telling you, Savers is where the money's at. Darren Eckelman says success equals small items, quantity, stock, picks, and low prices. I like that. So yeah, there's definitely a lot of money to be made out there with thrift stores, and that's probably the number one way to be able to source products consistently and effortlessly on a regular basis. The next method, retail stores. I don't know if you guys practice retail arbitrage, but there's a lot of money out there. If you're wondering what retail arbitrage is, it's actually going to retail stores like Walmart, Barnes and Nobles, Toys R Us, Big Lots. I mean, the list goes on and on. But the thing is, guys, a lot of these retail stores, they're in business because they keep turning over inventory. But at times, depending on the season and where the store is located, they have a hard time moving inventory. So what do? They put it on clearance. And what happens if they put the clearance on clearance and it doesn't sell? Well, they clearance it more and more and more. And sometimes it'll get to 70% off, 80%, 90% off. And you can actually go in there, swoop that stuff up at really good prices and sell it on eBay. So that's the second method right there. It is a little more advanced. The third way, and probably one of the easiest ways to be able to source consistently and on a regular basis, is garage sales. I went garage selling today, and sometimes you're going to hit big, other times you're not. But for example, a couple weeks ago, I went to some garage sales, and the first thing I popped on was a specialized mountain bike for $20. And while I'm not going to sell it on eBay, I could and probably get at least $200 to $300 on eBay for it. I source all different types of things. I also came across a board game called Dark Towers, which I'm sure you're all familiar with if you've been watching my videos. And that's, a $200 to $400 game used that I'm going to sell on eBay. So garage sales are definitely a great method to be able to source for eBay. And it's probably the best way to source products if you're brand spanking new. Let's say you're brand new, you're watching this video and you're like, I like this guy. I like this Raiken Profit guy. He's been around the block. He's sharing how to do it. I want to jump into it, but I don't have a lot of money. Garage sales. Garage sales is the way to go because you can get items for a quarter, 50 cents, $1. It really depends on the seller. I was talking to my buddy Tim today, and I said there's two types of sellers at a garage sale. There's one who just want to, they want to get rid of their stuff. They don't really care about the money. They're moving, or maybe the wife is yelling at the husband like, get all these baseball cards, get all these electronics out of the house. I'm sick of seeing it. Those are the ones you want to see because they just want to get rid of it and you get a bargain. And then there's a second type of garage seller who, they're there to make money. They don't really need to get rid of it. Maybe they're an ex-eBay seller or an Amazon seller. Who knows the deal? But every once in a while, you'll come across a garage sale seller who you could tell they're not there to just get rid of stuff. They're there to actually make money. So garage sales is definitely another great method. And the fourth method that I recommend, and this is a method that I actually don't practice. If any of you guys in the comments section are practicing this method, feel free to leave some tips below for the people who are watching. But flea markets and auctions. I know a lot of people who like to go to flea markets, antique malls, auctions. I mean, I'm kind of all bundling them all up together. But those are some other ways to be able to source products, antiques, more rare collectible types of items, gold, silver, watches, stuff like that. So those are the methods that I would recommend, to get started on eBay, guys. Thrift stores, retail stores, garage sales, and I kind of bundled them all together. Flea markets, auctions, and antique malls. So now that you know where to go to source products, let's talk about what to source, right? What can you source to sell on eBay? Let's dive right into it, guys. One of my favorite items to sell on eBay and Amazon, actually lately it's been more Amazon, but either way, either platform will work. Board games. There is a lot of money to be made with board games. And like I said before, guys, I came across the board game Dark Towers. And I'm going to show you that game real quick that I popped on. It's called Dark Towers by Milton Bradley. And if you go to the sold listings, you're going to see what these things are selling for. And this is the cover of the board game. This was, it sold for well, maybe not $329. There's a line through it. So they took a best offer at $329, $192, $78, $324, $170. I mean, there is a lot of money to be made with board games, guys. And take a look right here. Scooby-Doo, Where Are You? The Clue version, $100 brand new. Ghostbusters. This is an awesome game to be on the lookout for, guys, when you're outsourcing products for eBay. You can buy this new, you can buy this used. Just make sure if you buy this game used that it is complete. Cash Flow by Robert Kiyosaki. If you don't know who Robert Kiyosaki is, you better get to know him. He's actually the author of Rich Dad, Poor Dad, which is, one of the best-selling business books ever to come. And I think it's been published in like 50 languages or whatever. But yeah, this is an excellent game right here to pick up and resell. I mean, the list goes on and on. There's a lot of these games I don't even know about. Here's Pandemic Legacy Season 1, $76. These are all new. Catan, I've sold this game a ton of times. Gear of Wars. Believe it or not, guys, look, with the presidential election going on, we've got a 1989 Milton Bradley Donald Trump the board game that went for $59.95 plus 20 buckaroos new. So as you can see, guys, there is a lot of money to be made with board games. If you could find a board game brand new in a shrink wrap, you want to look it up. I mean, that's probably one of the most exciting times I have when I'm in a thrift store or I'm at a garage sale and I see a board game brand new, especially Monopoly. If there's a Monopoly, you're not stopping me. I'm taking your property. I had to spit a freestyle for you guys because I'm excited. But Monopoly is where it's at, especially if it's got a theme to it like Star Wars. I mean, there's so many different ones out there, guys. But look at this, $62 right here. There's a hoverboard in here. I don't know why that's there. I don't even know what this game is, but $74.99. I mean, let me know in the comment section, guys. What do you think about board games? I know a lot of you folks sell board games. I'm sure that you get excited as well when you see a board game. We got Thrift Coach in the house. What's going on, man? Good to see you. Marco Camara says I sold a deluxe for $70. Max Piano says, got 8 themed Monopolies still wrapped the other day, $5 each. Where did you get that, Max? Where in the world did you find that many Monopolies? That's pretty cool. Another great method to be able to source, guys, kind of backtracking a little bit, estate sales. Estate sales are an excellent way to be able to source new products. I'll be honest with you guys, I rarely ever go to an estate sale. I know my buddy Ronnie over at the Hearts Pickers YouTube channel, which is another great resource I'd recommend to you guys. He's been killing it over there. And I think he actually sold, speaking of making a killing on eBay, I believe he sold somebody fill me in. It was a certain type of pan, Yes, a pan. I forget what it's called. It's not a skillet. I think it's a, I don't even know, but he sold it for like $1,400. For people who are watching in the comments, if you've seen his video, let me know what type of pan that was. But there's a lot of money to be made in board games, guys. And again, I mean, the list goes on and on. Seven Wonders, $59.98. Here's a vintage broadside board game. Took a best offer under $175. Here's another Monopoly game, $93. And you're probably thinking to yourself, who in their right mind would ever pay $93.85 for a Monopoly board game? It happens all the time, guys. It happens all the time. So, thrift stores and garage sales are probably going to be your best sourcing method to come across, a brand new in a box board game that sells for ridiculous margins. I mean, the margins are going to be a lot smaller at retail stores typically. And, I haven't heard of a ton of people finding new in the box items and stuff at flea markets and auctions and antique malls. But if you have, feel free to leave a comment. Let's dive into another category that can make you a lot of money on eBay. Let's say you're just getting started and you're trying to figure out, what can I sell on eBay? I want to be able to find something, I want to be able to master a niche or a category that I could consistently source new products. Maybe you're doing electronics or video games and you go to the garage sales, you go to the retail stores, the thrift stores, and you're like, I just can't find enough product. I wish there was something that I could source on a consistent basis. Well, here you go, guys. Clothing. This is actually the niche I jumped into about 3 years ago, right after I'd quit working at my restaurant job at the Cracker Barrel. I started with Craigslist and I moved into eBay. And this is what allowed me to go full time, guys, selling clothing on eBay. And I just want to show you a few examples of some clothing that's selling to kind of open up your eyes, because I know half the battle, guys, at least for me, half the battle when I start anything new is just having that faith, the belief that you can actually make money. So that's why I'm sharing my screen with you and I'm showing you the sold listings. I mean, check this out right here. We got a Patagonia fleece, and the Patagonia fleeces actually do really, really well, especially if you get one that has a crazy design and color scheme to it. But I mean, check this puppy out right here, guys. Patagonia right there. This is the chinchilla model, and just a really interesting item. And again, you're probably thinking to yourself, who in the right mind would pay $57.99 for a pre-owned Patagonia fleece? Well, I can tell you firsthand, guys, I've probably sold 15 or 20 of these, and a lot of them have sold for $50 plus. If you guys have ever sold a Patagonia fleece, something weird and unique like this with a cool color scheme, let me know in the comments section. I'm going to dive into the comments right now to see what's going on and shout some people out. Looks like we have 92 people watching live right now on a Saturday night. So I want to salute you all. I appreciate you guys coming out and hanging with me for a little bit. I really enjoy making these videos, and I hope that these videos can add value and serve you in some way, maybe just to motivate you or entertain you, or just to be able to open your eyes up to realize you can actually make money with this stuff. So let's answer some questions, guys. We got Darren asking, Steve, what are your thoughts on drop shipping? To be honest with you, I've never done drop shipping. I've heard of people having success with it, but I really can't talk about it because I've never done it before. Let's see. Woohoo! For men's clothing, $2 cashmere jacket sold for $125. So yeah, I mean, there's money to be made out there, guys. There's so many different clothing items out there. Christine says, I saw 2 shrink-wrapped board games at Goodwill today, but didn't grab them. I'm gonna go back for them tomorrow. Yeah, I mean, not all board games are going to be worth money. There's certain board games out there that, only bring in $10 or $15. The key is just to look it up. If you're selling on Amazon, get the Amazon seller app and scan that puppy and see what it's coming in at. If you're selling on eBay, then just look it up on the sold listings. Somebody made a comment saying you don't have a ton of listings in your store right now. I know I don't, but that's how I started. I started on eBay. I moved on to Amazon, and I'm on pace to do hopefully $8,000 this month on Amazon, guys. So, you got to pick your platform that you want to sell on. I've moved on to Amazon, but there's still a special place in my heart with eBay, and there's still a great opportunity to sell on eBay. It's just, I do a lot of different things. I run multiple businesses. So At this point in my life, I'm not looking to scale my eBay business. I'm doing it part-time, and I sell a couple items here and there. But there was a time when I was full-time and I had over 1,000 items in my inventory. But it doesn't mean I can't talk about it and I can't help people. So that's what I'm doing, guys. I'm helping people. And if you've been following my channel for, a couple of years, you know that I'm the real deal, and I've done it and I've made money. And, it excites me because I was able to quit my job and change my life. So if you're here to learn about eBay, this is the place to be. Yeah, so Marco Camara is talking about that item that I was talking about earlier. My buddy sold a Griswold cast iron pan on eBay for $1,400. And you're probably thinking to yourself, that's insane. I thought the same thing, but it's true. So that's pretty crazy right there. Kay Relaford says the profit margins on eBay are awesome. I tell you, they really, really are. The profit margins are definitely awesome on eBay. Christine says, we do Etsy, eBay, and just started Amazon FBA. Got Shirts to Ink says, why do I hear so many bad things about Amazon? What is wrong with that? You hear a lot of bad things about a lot of platforms. You hear bad things about Craigslist. You hear bad things about eBay. You hear bad things about pretty much any platform, but a lot of people like to talk without trying. They don't really have the experience. And I've been around the block. I've sold on Craigslist. I've sold on eBay. I've sold on Amazon, and there's pros and cons to each platform. I definitely would agree. When it comes to eBay, one of the cons and the drawbacks, if you're looking to sell on eBay, is it's very time consuming. It takes a lot of time to source. It takes a lot of time to take pictures and photograph and store your items and pick them and pack them and ship them and deal with customer service. And that's why I've moved on to Amazon as more of my full-time gig, even though I don't do it full-time. But I put a lot more effort into my Amazon because you spend a lot less time on Amazon versus eBay, just because of FBA and the fulfillment centers and whatnot. All right, guys, so we're going to move on to the next section. So I showed you guys some men's clothing. Actually, we'll go through a few more pieces of clothing. Here's another great brand right here, Filson. This is a double lager waxed coat right here, $110. We got an Armani, appears to be a blazer. Can't really see with the color, but that went for $215. It may be a suit. We have a Robert Graham, looks like a button front shirt that went for, best offer under $74.99. I mean, there is definitely money to be made out here, guys, and there's a lot of different items. Here's Supreme. That's a really high-end brand. Here we got a lot of, looks like we got a lot of various Western shirts that went for a little under $60. It was the best offer. There's definitely money to be made with clothing. If you're just getting started and you're wondering what should I focus on, I mean, there's no particular area that you have to focus on. I mean, I love selling blazers, sport coats, and suits. High margins, but they are long tail and they definitely take a lot more time. But the bread and butter is definitely in the jackets and the button front shirts. I would really focus on the brand. I would definitely focus on the brand. If you're trying to figure out what brands to buy and sell, I do have a few books I've created over the years. 101 Killer Clothing Brands, 102 Killer Clothing Brands, the Blazing Profits Training Program. So you can definitely check those out in the comments in my description area and get your hands on those. But just know there are so many opportunities out there, guys. I mean, look at these items that are selling. It's ridiculous. People say, the clothing market on eBay is dead. It is far from dead, guys. I have plenty of friends who are making a full-time living selling clothing on eBay. Another type of item that can make you really, really good money, and I'm going to dive into it right now. I'm going to show you an example of some items that can make you good money is video game items. Video game items can make you really good money. I love the vintage video game stuff, the Super Nintendo, the Sega Genesis, the Nintendo 64, certain PlayStation 2 games. There's even PS3 and PS4 games, obviously, and Xbox One games that can make you really good money, but especially the older games. I'm talking about the Marios, the Zeldas. I mean, there's so many different games out there, and this is a bolo to be on the lookout for, guys, if you're brand spanking new. The N64 consoles that are colored, like the red ones or the orange, or there's a whole bunch of different colors, but these bring in really good money. I mean, check this out right here. Watermelon red plus 2 atomic controllers, cords, etc. $145. It's pretty cool right there. Let's see what other video games sold. I'm not sure what this is. So it's just a bunch of Nintendo 64 items. A quick tip too, if you ever pick up a Nintendo 64, always open up the case right here in the center where you see right to the left of the, I believe that's the power button. Always open up that case to see if there's an expansion pack in there. I believe there's two things that could be in there. It's either an expansion pack or I believe it's called a rumble pack. I'm not a video game expert, but if there's an expansion pack in there, that could definitely bring you in a few more dollars. Darren says, Steve, what price range do you like to be in on video games as far as paying for them? I mean, it really depends, guys. My best advice for you is to look them up. Look them up to see how much they're selling for. I mean, certain sport games or certain random games, maybe they're only selling for $15. I'm going to want to get in for, sub $5, probably more or less $2 or $3. But there's other games out there like, Super Mario Bros. Or Zelda or, Donkey Kong that, might bring in 20, 30, $40, and I'm willing to spend more money. So it really depends on the selling price. But if you're selling on eBay, you're going to have to take into consideration, what's your time worth? Because it's going to take you time to source it. It's going to take you time to list it and, take pictures and all that and ship it out. So what's your time worth and what's your business model, right? What are the margins that you're aiming for? So there's definitely a lot of things to consider in terms of how much you should pay. Sick of work, buy Steve's ebooks for used clothing. I appreciate the shout out. David Rodriguez, if I am a new seller on eBay, how important is it for me to have reviews to sell things? So I think what David's asking is it important to have feedback? And, the answer is yes, it is definitely important, but it'll come naturally, right? It'll come naturally at first. There might be a few buyers who are turned off because you have zero feedback. But it'll come, it takes time, but I had a buddy just recently, my buddy Jeff started selling on eBay and my buddy Vinny as well. They both started selling on eBay and, they had zero feedback and it's been, I think 3 weeks now. And I think they both have 4, 5, 6 feedback and, it'll come naturally. So, I wouldn't worry about it. Kind of like your selling limits as well. If you're not sure what I'm talking about on eBay, when you first get started selling on eBay, you're going to have selling limits, which means they're going to allow you to only sell a certain amount of products, a certain quantity, and then they're going to put a cap in terms of how much you can sell. So for example, they'll say you can either sell 10 items or up to $500. So once you hit either one of them, they're not going to let you list any more items. So that's another thing you're going to deal with. But again, just take it step by step. And when you get to that point, you'll be able to jump over that hurdle. I do want to ask you guys, looks like we've been on for about 25 minutes. If you are watching this live, be sure to hit the like button, show a little bit of love, and let me know that these videos are helping you out. If you're looking to learn how to make money on eBay, feel free to ask a question in the comment section, and I'll definitely try to help you out as much as I can. If I don't know the answer, we'll throw it out to the comment section and see what others have to say. So Darren says, Steve, on new products, would you consider stock photos to be okay? I'm sure you could get away with it, but I've always just taken pictures. So I mean, if you want to use a stock photo, you could. I don't know. I don't like it when I'm shopping on eBay. And when I always get a little turned off by a stock photo because it just doesn't look, I don't know, to me, eBay is all about that connection. It's that personal connection. It's more intimate, right? Like if you're shopping on eBay, you ever know how it's like there's no real connection. It's almost like you're just buying from eBay. It's like, I don't know how to explain it in words, but there's no personal relationship there. With eBay, I feel like it's that relationship. And by having the picture there, showing your actual item, brand new, I don't know. I just feel like it puts more weight on it. So that's my advice there. I probably wouldn't. Could you get away with it? Yeah. Will it affect you? Maybe, maybe not. But I would definitely take a picture. Darren says, I just decided to buy some stickers to put on my packages. Thank you, stickers. Help feedback. Really good tip right there. If you go onto eBay or Amazon, search for eBay thank you stickers. And when you sell something, when you package it up, let's just say you sell a t-shirt and you package it up, you could stick this thank you sticker on the poly bag or on your box or whatever on the inside, and it says, Thanks for your purchase. Please leave a 5-star feedback if you like this product or whatever, and that could definitely help you. Someone says the comments are fine, but Steve's pics are fuzzy. These aren't my pictures, you guys. I'm just going through eBay right now, and I'm going through various items that have sold. So, none of these pictures are mine. But in another video, I'll definitely be sure to show you some pictures of mine, which I definitely believe that pictures are important. If you guys ever, watched any of my previous videos or saw some of my behind the scene videos or looked into my eBay store, I take a lot of pride in pictures, and it's very, very important to me. All right, guys, let's talk about another type of item that you can sell. And here we've got printers. So let's say that, maybe you're selling clothing, maybe you're selling some shoes, which is another great way to be able to make money on eBay. And I actually have another video on that I'll link in the description as well, how to sell shoes and the best shoes to sell on eBay. But say you're selling clothing, you're selling shoes, you're doing video games, board games. Another great way to make money, and this is definitely an abundant item that you're going to find out there at thrift stores. You're going to find these at garage sales. You're probably not going to find them much at retail stores. You're going to have to invest a good amount of money. Flea markets, I'm not really sure, but definitely garage sales and thrift stores is printers. Printers, you could definitely make some really good money with printers. I actually just recently picked up a Brother, I believe the model was 2270 DW. I believe it was a Brother 2270 DW laser printer, and I picked that up for $12 at a Goodwill. Tested it out, it turned on. Ended up bringing it home, tested it out, worked great, and that's going for about $100 on Amazon. I didn't double check what it was selling for on eBay, but definitely a great find right there. And I've sold probably 20 or 30 printers over the last couple of years. I don't sell them all the time just because I really like to focus on smaller items. That's just me personally. You got to understand when you're selling bigger items like printers and stuff, it is going to take more time. Your returns are going to be a little higher. There's going to be a little more upfront cost with sometimes you got to get a bigger box, so you got to do a Frankenstein box and put a few together and bubble wrap it all up and whatnot. But that's besides the point. But there's really good money to be made in printers, guys. And I just want to show you a few sold listings of some printers that sold for $100 plus. Again, if you're trying to determine if you should buy a printer or not, one, you want to plug it in at the thrift store if you can, or at the garage sale. Talk to the person, communicate with them, say, listen, does this work? Talk to them, get a feel for it. But if you're at a thrift store or at a garage sale, try to plug it in, make sure the lights come on. Also, there's a few other things you can do to test it out. You want to see if the ink is in. You just want to check things out, inspect it. My buddy Erik of the College Picker actually is like a master when it comes to printers. So maybe in the future we can do a video in terms of how to inspect it properly and whatnot. But really, my best advice for you is just, test it as best as you can to see if the lights come on. And when you bring it home, hook it up and see if it prints and see if it works. So be curious to know, how do you guys test your printers? Definitely leave a comment in the comment section. Chad Vader says they sell higher on Amazon. Yeah, from my experience, I definitely get a little more money for, electronic items, especially printers on Amazon. The thing is with Amazon, though, the returns, I find the returns for electronics are a lot higher on Amazon versus eBay. So again, before I said there's pros and cons, I think one of the cons to Amazon, especially electronics, is higher return rates. So that's definitely one thing to consider. Teresa Castle, what are the benefits of having an eBay store as opposed to not? Well, there's a few different benefits. One of the major benefits is you could actually create categories and you can organize your store to make it easier for people to be able to shop and go through it and to be able to find what they want. For me, one of the big benefits to always having a store was to be able to run sales. So, running sales through the, what is it called again? I forgot what the name of it's called, but pretty much you could run sales, and there's a strong correlation between running a sale, whether it's 5%, 10%, 20%, and actually making more sales. So, it's definitely a big benefit. Yes, the markdown manager, that's what I was trying to think of. It's 11:30 at night over here, guys. I'm sipping on a little green tea, trying to stay awake. But those are definitely two benefits right there. Being able to create a really nice store, the categories, make it look nice, make it easier, a better buying experience, and more pleasurable experience for your customers, and to be able to use the markdown manager. Blazing Beats, how do you send printers to FBA? I mean, you pretty much just box it up and send it off. You just got to make sure it's protected and bubble wrapped up, and just make sure it's safe. It's really no different than any other product. You just got to make sure it's looking good and it's not going to get damaged. Mr. Sadie 123, Bubba, what's going on, Mr. Sadie? So like I said, guys, there's a lot of different products that you can buy and sell to sell on Amazon if you're looking to make money on eBay and Amazon. Like I said, board games are a great way to make money. Cash flow, that's probably one of my favorite games. Men's clothing, that's how I got started selling on eBay. And again, I showed you that example of that Patagonia chinchilla fleece that went for $57.99. Printers, and also, like I said before, video games. So those are definitely some of the best items to buy and sell on eBay. But again, guys, here's the most important thing that I want to talk about, and this is number 3. We talked about locations to source. We talked about what to source, but this is the big one right here. This is the big one. List, 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 and list. You've got to list your items up. I can't tell you guys how many people I know, and this happened to me at one time. I would just go out and source and source and source. I'd go out to thrift store, retail store, garage sale. I would buy, but I wasn't listing, right? I wasn't taking the time to take pictures, wasn't taking the time to list up my products. And, I wasn't selling as much as I wanted to. And, once I finally got my routine down, my listing habits down, that's when I really started to make more money. So one thing I really want to drill into your head is, if you want to learn how to make money on eBay, that's great. It's easy. It's really not that hard to learn how to do it, right? It's not that hard to learn how to go to thrift stores and look items up. It's not that hard to learn what to source, by looking up the sold listings and experimenting with clothing, shoes, video games, board games, printers. That's not the hard part. You know what the hard part is? Executing, taking the time to sit down after you're off your high horse, after you're coming down from your sourcing high. And you're probably thinking to yourself, a sourcing high? What are you talking about? Yes, there is such thing as a sourcing high. I want to know in the comment section, have any of you guys ever experienced a sourcing high? When you're out there sourcing and you feel like you're on top of the world, you're going from Goodwill to Savers to Salvation Army, bada bing, bada boom, profits are coming soon, you're going nuts. And then you get home and you're like, it's time to list. And you feel your energy come out of your body, and you're sitting there in front of your computer with 40 or 50 clothing items, a bunch of printers, a bunch of Mario games. Maybe you got yourself a Nintendo 64 console with an expansion pack, and you're like, crap, it's time to list items. And all that energy gets sucked out of your body. Been there before. I've done that before. And that's where the boys and the men get separated. That's where the money's made. It's after you go sourcing at all these locations I talked about. It's after you find all these profitable items. The boys and the men get separated at the third step. List, list, list. So a few tips I have for you guys is, number 1, I like to do things in bunches when it comes to this last step. And what do I mean by bunches? First thing I like to do is I like to photograph everything at once. And I'm going to talk about when I was doing it when I was doing everything, when I was working out of my bedroom, and I was living at home with my parents at this time. And, since then I've moved into storage lockers. I had my own office. I now have my own place with, my eBay setup and my Amazon setup at my own, apartment, which is like 1,800 square feet now. And I've, been able to make money online for over 3 years. When I was a one-man show, and I was doing everything, I like to do everything in bunches. So I like to take pictures of everything at once. So let's just say that my goal was to list up 20 items. And that's a good goal for one day, to list up 20 items, because it definitely takes a lot of time. I would get all my 20 items together, let's just say it was clothing, and I would put it all in one section, and I would photograph them all, do it all at once. Because when you jump from photographing to measuring to cleaning to actually taking your listing templates, which I highly recommend as well, creating a template, to actually sitting down and putting everything into eBay, it takes a lot of time away, jumping from different thing to different thing. So I recommend chunking it all down and doing it, kind of in bunches, right? So photograph everything at once. So once you photograph everything, or maybe you clean everything at once, or prep everything at once, maybe you prep everything, then you move on to the next stage. You photograph everything, and then maybe you move on to the next stage. You measure everything, because if you're selling clothing, you're going to definitely want to measure the clothing. You're going to want to measure across the chest, the length, the sleeves. If you're, selling a suit, you're going to want to measure the waist. You're going to want to measure the inseam. There's a lot of different measurements if you're dealing with clothing. If you're, selling books, you're going to want to, take all the stickers off. You're going to want to check to make sure all the pages are looking good. So there's a lot of different things you're going to want to do, but definitely do things in bunches. Photograph everything at once, clean everything at once, measure everything at once, and then list everything at once. And you're going to find that it really allows you to move much quicker and with more of a purpose. So that's really, really important right there. Fresh Coast Finds, Warriors. Fresh Coast Finds, who are you, man? Are you on my softball team? I'm actually on a softball team, and then the team, the name of the team is Warriors. So I'm curious to know who Fresh Coast Finds is. Oreo Kid, I want to thank you, Steve, for all the tips. I just sold a 60-inch TV for $600. Thank you, Steve. Wow, that's quite impressive. Awesome job right there. That's the type of success story I like to hear. Sales Survivor says it's an addiction to buy stuff you can sell. I know it is. It's definitely an addiction, guys. But if you want to learn how to make money on eBay, you got to get past just the sourcing. You've got to actually learn how to create positive habits of listing these items up, because that's where the money's made, guys. It's getting it out there to the customer, right? You're getting paid for one single reason. You're getting paid because you can find an item to sell on eBay undervalued, and you can deliver it to your customer at fair market value. Hopefully that's what you're doing, or under market value, and you're able to make the difference, as profit. You buy something for undervalue, you deliver to the customer at value, at the market value, and you make the difference. So, in order for you to do your job, which is to provide customers with high quality products at market value or a little undervalue, you've got to get it out to them. You've got to make it available to them. And these people are purchasing from all over the world. Cool thing about eBay is you can sell internationally, right? You could be in Connecticut like I am and sell to someone in, Africa. It's crazy, but it's true. So again, guys, we've been live for about 39 minutes, and I want to thank you all who are watching. Be sure to drop a comment in the comment section. Let me know that you're watching. Let me know if you're liking this video, if it's helping you. Also, be sure to hit the like button. Hit that like button and show some love. We got 85 people watching live, and only 41 people who hit the like button. Again, guys, I say this all the time. I'm no mathematician. The numbers just ain't adding up. Come on, let's get up to 60. Let's get up to 70 likes. I'm getting excited. Let's go back into the comments and see what is going on. Tony Edwards says, I need to get past my zero feedback. I have offered good deals, but it doesn't seem to be working. I am Warhorse 1897 on eBay if anyone wants to look. Someone made a suggestion before, and this is something that I've done as well that helped, and I have another tip for you as well. Here's 2 tips for you guys to get feedback on eBay. If you're brand new to eBay, you got zero feedback, you think it's hurting you, here's 2 tips for you. Tip number 1, and this is something I've done, and yes, I've done this. I've actually done it. Write a handwritten thank you letter. Take a little piece of paper, right? It doesn't have to be super professional. This really, again, this comes down to the connection, the relationship building with eBay. And that's why a lot of people love eBay, is because you have that relationship with the seller and the customer. Take out a piece of paper, right? Take out a pencil or a pen and say, let's pretend, let's take a step back. Let's pretend that you sold let's go to the video game example. You sold a Zelda video game. Take out a piece of paper and a pen and say, I just wanted to thank you for purchasing this game. I really hope you enjoy it. If you have any problems, please be sure to send me a message and I'll take care of you. If you love the game as much as I do, please be sure to leave a feedback. It really helps a lot. This is, a family business or something like that. That was a really non-well thought out letter or a response. I'm just kind of going off the cuff, but you can write anything, right? Just thank them, just be a person and say, hey, thank you so much for buying it. Appreciate it. Leave a feedback, and you'd be surprised how many people actually, respect somebody for taking the time to write the note. So make up your own little response, but write a little handwritten note and say thank you, and that'll help a lot. Number two, like I said before, and someone made the suggestion, go on to eBay or Amazon, type in eBay thank you sticker, eBay thank you sticker. And these are little stickers that are probably, I don't know, 2 to 3 inches long and, inch and a half or 2 inches wide. It's just a little sticker, right? It's adhesive and it's a sticker. And, if you sell a clothing item or a game and you put it in a poly bag, you stick this sticker on the outside of the item. Don't put it on the outside of the box for the post office people to see. Make sure it's in the box and it's somewhere the customer's going to see it. And this little thank you sticker will actually say, thank you so much for your purchase. If you like this item or product, leave a 5-star review. Not a 5-star review, that's Amazon. Leave a positive feedback. So those are definitely 2 tips right there that'll help you to get past the feedback issue. Dawn Stone says, I've sold 6 items this week, nothing exciting. It's going to take time to grow. Invest what you want to get out of it, meaning your time. I agree. That's definitely a really good time. A really good comment is time. You've got to put in your time. I made a video the other day talking about 11 things you must do before you start an eBay business. And one of the big ones that I mentioned in that video was realizing that you're going to have to put in time. Nothing comes for free. If you want to be able to make money on eBay and inside your eBay business, you're going to have to invest time. You're going to have to change up your routine. Maybe your routine is, waking up, going for a walk in the morning, and then coming home and having a smoothie. And then you go to work from 9 to 5. And then after that, you have dinner from 5 to 6. And then maybe from 6 to 8, you watch American Idol. And then maybe from 8 to 9, you read a book. 9 to 10, you tuck in your kids and you go to bed. Maybe that's your routine. Well, you're going to have to switch up that routine if you want to grow your eBay business, aka putting in some time. And you might have to cut out American Idol from 6 to 8 and put in some time to list up your items on eBay. So just realize that, time is going to be the biggest thing in terms of making money on eBay. And, not to talk down on eBay. I love eBay. But I've been spending a lot more time on Amazon, selling on Amazon, and that's definitely something that I recommend you guys all look into. I've been spending a lot more time on Amazon because it really allows me to leverage my time. And, I'll definitely talk about this more in another video. But Amazon allows you to leverage your time because they have the Amazon fulfillment centers, which in turn is pretty much a whole fleet of employees working for you all throughout the day, processing your stuff, shipping your stuff, dealing with customer returns. And that's definitely a topic for another video, but that's my answer right there. What do you do with items that have been in your inventory for a long period of time? Again, this is going to depend on your business model. There's certain items that I knew were going to sell, that I knew were, I knew they were long tail, which in turn means I knew that, let's say this blazer that I purchased, maybe it's a blazer I purchased. I knew that it's going to probably take 6 to 12 months to sell. And you might be thinking to yourself, well, why in the world would you buy something that is going to take 6 to 12 months to sell? Well, it's all based on your business model. If I could pay $4 for a suit that takes, 8 months to sell, but I could get it, I could sell it for $200. I mean, that's well worth it. I'll have $4 tied up in, a product for 8 months that sells for 200. So first you got to understand the business model and the actual product. If you have a product and maybe your business model is the fast nickel and you want to turn it within a month or two, if you want to get that product to move, I mean, the number one thing you're probably going to want to do is reduce the price, or maybe you're going to want to improve your keywords. Maybe people aren't finding your listing on eBay because you don't have good keywords, you don't have a good description, and most people are going to find your product by typing in certain keywords. But if let's say you have good keywords, you have good, good description, you have good feedback, everything's done well, it's probably going to be a matter of price. So, you could reduce the price. You could run a sale. You can add a best offer option to your buy it now format, which I highly recommend. I was never a big fan of auctions, but it's probably the best thing you can do is, reduce your price and some people do when they do buy it now, they just have it relist automatically, which means it's like until canceled, I think it's called. I never like that, and I think it really hurts you. So I'd recommend doing the longest 30-day buy it now auctions, and then after 30 days, I would relist it. 60% of people did not leave me feedback. How come, Steve? I'm not sure. I mean, I think it's just the way it is. I think it's definitely the way it is, but try that handwritten letter and try those thank you stickers, and I think that'll definitely increase it. It's even worse on Amazon. I think 98% of people don't leave feedback, so it's definitely something that we all deal with. But I don't think feedback is really, that important on eBay. If you've got 50, not even 50, but if you got 20, 30 good feedbacks and you're at 100%, you're fine. I think on my eBay, I've got like 1,700 positive feedback. I mean, it doesn't really matter anymore. I'm proven to be a authority seller. So I really wouldn't worry about it too much. How do you know when you're ready for an eBay store? That's a really good question. I'd like to throw that out to the comment section and ask everyone who's watching right now, when do you think somebody is ready for an eBay store? For me, I think I was at a couple hundred items in my inventory, and I just wanted to step up my game. I wanted to be able to run sales, and I wanted to get inventory moving. I was running out of space. I didn't have a ton of space. I was living at my parents' house. I was working out of my bedroom, and I knew I had to get inventory moving. So, creating that store and be able to organize all the categories. Also, I was selling a lot of different items. I was focused on clothing, but I was spreading out from polo shirts to blazers to sport coats to, you know, shorts and dress pants, and I just needed to organize everything. So I think you'll feel it out. You'll kind of know when you're ready, and maybe when you want to step up your game. Kayla H, hey, what's going on, Kayla? Good to see you. How you been? It was nice talking to you in the comment section the other day. Philip Murray says, get the store now, and it will motivate you to list more. That's a really good point. When the store saves you money on all the fees. Yeah, that's definitely one thing that can definitely help you out as well is the fees that you'll save. I'm not 100% sure how much money you save on the fees. Again, guys, I'm mostly Amazon now, and I do eBay part-time, so I'm not like on the tippity top of all the latest and greatest in terms of eBay. But if you guys know how much money you can save with the eBay fees, feel free to leave a comment for everybody watching. But yeah, guys, hopefully this video helped you guys out. I'm kind of losing my voice right now, so I don't know how much more I can talk. But in this video, guys, we covered, sourcing locations, where to source items, to be able to make money on eBay. We talked about thrift stores. We talked about retail stores, garage sales, flea markets. Once you figure out where to go to source products, we talked about what to source, the products to buy to be able to make money on eBay. We talked about clothing and shoes, which are abundant at pretty much any thrift store, and they're all over at garage sales. We talked about video games and board games, printers and electronics, which are just a couple items that you can buy and sell. There are literally hundreds of items that you can buy and sell on eBay. And then last but not least, we talked about the number one thing that's going to allow you to succeed and make money on eBay, which is actually listing, taking the time to organize all your products that you want to get listed up, set a goal, maybe it's 20 items, and sitting down and taking the pictures, right? Measuring the items, cleaning the products, and, listing them up and getting them out there for the world to buy. That's really the key. I mean, it's, what did Wayne Gretzky said? I forget what the quote is. It's, you miss every shot you don't take. I don't know if that was Wayne Gretzky, or you'll never score if you don't take the shot. You know what I'm trying to say, guys. You'll never score if you don't take the shot, and you'll never sell a product if you don't get it listed on eBay. So if you want to make money, if you want to get lucky, you've got to put yourself in a position to get lucky. And, in order to get lucky selling items, they've got to be listed. This is common sense stuff, guys. I'm not talking down to you. I'm just trying to really open up your eyes to the mistakes and the problems that I made, right? I made these mistakes. I dealt with these issues. There were times I didn't understand. Why am I not selling as much as I want? Why am I not hitting my goals? Well, Steve, you're not listing. You're not listing as much as you should. You're not sourcing as much as you should. It never really was, to be honest, it never was, I'm not outsourcing enough, because that's fun. It never was, oh, I'm not going to enough thrift stores. No, it was never that. It was always listing up the items, right? Listing up the items. So if there's one thing that I want you to take away from this, live show, maybe you're brand new to eBay and you're getting started and you're like, wow, this is cool. I learned where to go to source. I learned what to source. That's great. But the one thing I want you to take away from this live show is the key to success on eBay is listing, listing, listing. If you want to make more money, you're going to have to list more. You're going to have to build up your store. You're going to have to get more products in your store. The more you have for sale, the better chance you have of making a sale. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. I'm going to look in the comment section real quick. Give me a minute. I'm going to take a little sip of my green tea. Who's Gretzky? Wayne Gretzky, man. You don't know Wayne Gretzky? Excuse me. Sorry about that. Pawn shops. Yeah, I mean, pawn shops are another great way to make money, especially on Amazon. I've never really had much experience selling from pawn shops to eBay. So Philip Murray says, I save 30% on shipping fees with an eBay store. So there you go, straight from the horse's mouth. Mike B says, how to choose eBay over Amazon. Maybe you've already answered that. That's going to be a pretty big response right there. You know, for example, there's certain items that you can't sell. Like for me, like I can't sell used shoes and clothing on Amazon. So in that example, it's going to be going eBay all day long. Certain items are restricted on Amazon, which means you can't sell them. They literally restrict them for one reason or another. Maybe that particular brand worked out a deal with Amazon. Maybe Amazon's the exclusive seller. I don't know what it is. But there's certain items you can't sell on Amazon, right? So they go to eBay. Another example, like books and media. You tend to get a lot more money for even video games, to be honest with you guys. You tend to get a lot more money for video games and books, especially on Amazon. So for that example, it's going to be going on Amazon. But like I said before, if I have a used clothing item or a shoe or an antique or something weird and unique, I mean, it's going on eBay. So you got to take a look at the product. You also got to take a look at your knowledge, right? Maybe you don't know how to sell on Amazon. You're going to get in trouble really quick by jumping into Amazon without doing your research. It's very easy to get kicked off of Amazon, especially if you're a merchant seller and you're not shipping on time and you're canceling orders and you're getting negative feedback. It's a whole different beast selling on Amazon. So you definitely want to take a look at your skill set as well. But I'd highly recommend starting with eBay. Start with eBay, and maybe a month or two down the road you could look into Amazon as well. But that's it, guys. I appreciate you all watching this live show. Again, if you could hit the like button, I definitely would appreciate that. I'm definitely going to make some more videos about how to make money on eBay and help you guys out as much as I possibly can. Like I said before, eBay is how I quit my job. It's literally how I quit my job. I was working at the Cracker Barrel, and I still remember putting on my little apron, and yeah, I wore an apron, guys. Don't make fun of me. But putting on my little apron and going into, the Cracker Barrel and being stuck in here for 9 hours. And, I made decent money. I'd walk out with $100 or so. But I was living at home with my parents, and I didn't have much money. And, while I'm not a millionaire now, I definitely make a lot more money selling on eBay and Amazon and Craigslist and doing Kindle publishing and YouTube videos and products and running sites and doing a whole bunch of different things, guys. I'm all over the place. I'm a lot happier. I make a lot more money. And, it wasn't long ago that, maybe I was like you and I was, you were working a full-time job. I was doing the same thing, and I was able to quit that job by going into things like Craigslist and eBay and Amazon and e-commerce and just so many different things out there, guys. So just get started, take action. There's money to be made. There's a lot of people out there who can help you. There's a lot of great resources. Not only my channel on the Raiken Profit YouTube channel, I've got, I think, over 800 free videos, but there's a lot of amazing Facebook groups out there. There's a lot more amazing YouTube videos. blogs, websites, podcasts. I mean, the information's out there, guys. You just need to take action. So with that being said, thanks for watching this video. I look forward to seeing some more comments. If you guys have any more questions, leave a comment after this broadcast, and I'll do my best to answer your questions. So with that being said, have a good night and enjoy your weekend and have a great Memorial Day. I'll talk to you soon. Bye.